Well, hello, everyone. Welcome to the Everything Self Love and Recovery podcast, where we discuss everything self love. And today, I've had a chance to invite Astrid T from Bluffton, Georgia, to come out and share her experience, strength, and hope with us in regards to everything self love and recovery. So, Astrid, if you just come in and just give us a little something about yourself and how you started off.
Absolutely. First and foremost, hi everyone. I'm Astrid T. I am an alcoholic. Thank you so much, Wendell, for asking me to be a guest speaker on your podcast. I think this is a great thing that you're doing. Um, so I am mid 30s. We'll just say that. I am a stay-at-home mom currently, which is new for me. Um, I worked in hospitality and customer service for over 20 years. And after having my second child, my husband was able to move us out here in the middle of nowhere, Georgia. And uh, I am now able to stay at home with my little ones. My two girls are 4 and 2. And it's truly a blessing to get to this point in my recovery. There was 20 years of drinking and self-hate and just complete debauchery and havoc wreaking in my life that there's no way I could have seen this day possible. Um, so I'm truly grateful to be able to be a part of something so good as this, as being able to share a little bit of me, and I hope it helps someone else.
That is awesome. Thank you so much for joining us and congratulations. A lot of people don't make it to stay at home. I would love to be a stay at home dad personally, but all I've ever done was hard work. So, as we had discussed earlier, thank you so much for coming in and we'll just jump right in. I'd like to talk a little bit about self love and recovery and a little bit about your story and everything as you just shared with us. But what has been your most important aspect of your self love journey in maintaining sobriety?
As I kind of just mentioned, honestly, it's really been reminding myself and thinking about the opposite and how much I truly must have hated myself to continue down the road I was on, and getting to that point where, in the beginning, of course, it was fun. Drinking was fun and jovial and all of those things for me. But it got to the point the last 5 years or so where I didn't want to drink, but I didn't know how to stop. And it was that self-loathing and that self just true hatred that now that I'm on the other side of it and in recovery and able to see that I can love myself again, that it's something that I don't want to lose today. It's something that is too important to me. And in maintaining that, I have to keep positivity around me. One thing that I am very big on is gratitude lists, daily gratitude lists.
Mm,
Um, and that's first thing in the morning. And it's as I'm getting ready for my day because it changes. It has, especially, and I didn't mention this, but I've been sober now a year and a couple of weeks. And
awesome. Congratulations.
thank you, thank you. Um, but yeah, keeping that gratitude list at the forefront of my mind at the beginning of the day over the course of this last year has really helped change my perspective. Because, of course, back in my drinking days, everything was negative. Everything was woe is me. Everything is never going to get better. But that's not true. It does get better. It can get better if I so choose to allow that change to occur. So,
Right.
yeah, that's probably the most important thing is keeping that positivity and that positive mind frame as best I can because every day ain't perfect, but
Especially
trying
with
to
two
find
little ones running
I'm
around.
trying to tell you. But yeah, just trying to find those silver linings in the day and just keep something positive going in my mind is definitely, yeah, that most important part for me.
Absolutely. You mind if I ask you if is this your first time trying to stay sober or accomplishing sobriety?
This is my first time going through a 12-step program.
Okay.
So to I'd like to say no, because I have, of course, I've been in certain rooms where 12-step programs have been introduced to me,
Okay.
20 years of, my drinking, and I might stay sober a couple of weeks.
Right.
But the thing was, I wasn't willing and I wasn't ready. As much as I knew that I was an alcoholic, I was not ready to do anything about it yet.
Yes. Well, you
And
know the go ahead.
no, go ahead. No, that's fine.
I was going to say the third tradition talks about the only requirement for membership is a desire to stop drinking. So
Ex-
you had
ex-
the desire and you worked on it and worked on it and finally decided to jump right in.
I did. I truly did. This is as of today, I am a what, first chip wonder, or what is it called? I think that's what it is.
One
one,
trip, one,
one,
yes,
one
yes,
chip wonder. Yeah, I am that, I think.
that's that's awesome. I've been trying to stay sober now since 1991 with a 15-year, 500 some odd days in between all of that. But
Wow. That
got
is a
a, got around some folks at work and forgot I got away from the meetings and everything early on. I was going to 3 or 4 meetings a day back in 2000, around the first 5 or 6 years, but success and thinking I have arrived, got me
right,
away from the meetings.
right.
Yeah, so I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you were able to share that with us. How has your recovery journey influenced your understanding and practices of self love?
Um, for me, balance is balance of, like, I can't be too busy, I can't be too inactive, I can't be too involved or too isolated. Like, there is that balance in between for me. So, like, if I have a to-do list for the day before, if I didn't get everything done, okay, well, the day is a complete failure.
Right.
No, I have accomplished some things on the list. That's an accomplishment today. Um, and taking breaks, and I ain't gonna lie, nap.
I'm getting ready to say you out there in the middle of nowhere, Georgia, so wait.
And you said this earlier, how you used to hard work. Hey, raising two little munchkins that are mine and are like me, that is, man, listen.
Absolutely. My hat's off
It's
to any mother that can do that.
But
Yes.
yeah, but no, like, seriously, taking breaks, taking naps, just adding in that time to just regroup throughout the day. That is self-love. We can't run on a cup that's empty, right?
It's
And for
true.
too many years we tried to, at least for me. Um, and that only fueled me drinking more, trying to fill my cup with alcohol, which of course was futile.
Yes.
Hmm.
Yeah. The steps talk about it. Unless I find the sense of ease at once produced by alcohol,
Right.
my life is gonna be in trouble. I'm gonna always seek
Exactly.
that sense of ease. So
Exactly.
that's amazing. And yes, I did not mean to make light of taking care of two little ones at
No,
home.
I got to joke with you. I got to make it fun.
Absolutely, absolutely. I wouldn't have it any other way. Thank you. What strategies or tools have you found most effective in navigating life's challenges while staying sober?
Um, I'm one of those that, like, the little cliches, the little idioms, the little sayings, in the program that I work, those are what stick with me. Um, on those hard days, where challenges do occur, because I mean, it's life. It's not all rainbows and unicorns. There's gonna be hard days. There's gonna be things that I have to deal with that I might not want to. And those little sayings can creep in where the big ideas can't, right? So for me,
Yes,
pause, pray, then proceed. This too shall pass.
yes,
Move a muscle, change a thought. Those are three that for me creep in those moments, especially that pause, pray, and then proceed.
Right.
I am one,
Definitely.
I am quick. I was quick to go running off at the mouth because I thought I knew everything, right?
Yes, most of us do. Most alcoholics do. I know I
Right,
did anyway.
right. And as intelligent as I may be, which has been confirmed by others than myself, I still am now to a point where I truly recognize that I do not know everything. And
Hmm.
very well in a moment of heated emotion might not be approaching a conversation the best way to be effective in that communication with that other person. Um, or action, whatever it is, if it's communicating, if it's acting, having to take action. Um,
Yes.
but that pause, pray, then proceed has
Mm.
been paramount for me. Um, Even if it's honestly, I might not get to the pray or part, but if I just pause for a second, I think maybe just intuitively, I've gotten to a point where it's just my higher power then comes in and just helps me kind of reel it back in
Right.
before I let everything fly, you know. Um,
Unload, huh?
right, right.
Mm.
And then, with this too shall pass. I mean, time may not heal all wounds, but it definitely makes them more manageable. I do believe that. Something that is big and catastrophic today becomes a mere memory over time.
Mm.
Um, And so for me, I actually have a ring that I wear on my pinky that says this too shall pass,
Wow.
just as that daily reminder. Like even when my girls are at each other's throats, and it's like, how y'all are 4 and 2. This should not be happening. But and in the next 2 minutes, they're hugging it out and loving
Yeah.
each other like it's nothing. So, that's just a little example of, the bigger analogy, I guess, of how, in a moment it can seem so huge. And
Yeah.
then the next, everything's okay again, at least manageable, right?
Absolutely.
And then that, move a muscle, change a thought, for me, when I feel myself going into that pit of woe is me and why is this happening to me? Instead of me staying in those thoughts, I try my best to just get up and do something.
Yes.
Whether it's wash a dish, clean a floor, it's always something to do in this house. I'll
Hmm.
say that. Whether it's playing a game with the girls, if whatever it is, it's just some calling one of my key people, just to something to get out of myself. And
Yes.
our book talks about that, getting out of self and helping others, being there
De-
for someone else, and that those are
Definitely.
some effective strategies
Picking
tools that I've taken.
picking up that 10-pound phone, as they say, not
Right,
wanting to call anyone.
right.
When you mentioned that, I was going to ask you, what is your take on acceptance is the key to all my problems, page 417?
Come on, 417. Listen, I have a great story for 417. Um, when detox and rehab are a part of my story. And when I was in rehab, the acceptance prayer was on the wall of our main group room, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
And it used to be that to graduate from that rehab, I learned this from some of the other ladies, that you had to memorize that.
Wow.
Now, when I was there, that was not a requirement. But me being the overachiever that I am, I said, you know what? I'm going to memorize it and I'm going to know this like
Hmm.
the back of my hand in the 28 days I'm going to be here. And sure enough, I did. And not only was I able to memorize it,
Mm.
because I was there for 28 days and had nothing else to do but work on me,
Right.
I was able to really dive into the words and meditate on the words of that prayer.
Okay.
And I truly believe for me that it's true. I really do. For
Yes.
me to be able to accept. That doesn't mean that I have to like it.
Right.
I just have to accept that it is what it is. And
I've,
if it's in front of me, then
right.
it is what it is.
Absolutely.
I truly believe that nothing in this world happens by mistake. Nothing in God's world happens by mistake.
Right.
That is his sovereign will for whatever occurs. And yeah, it's one of my favorites. I just love it. I know it's a little controversial for some, but
Oh,
me.
oh yeah. It can get real controversial at times, but I will not go down that road. I like it as well. Also, I live by it. I used to always say that. When I owe you $1, I'm kind of like, man, it's just $1. What in the world is going on? Leave me alone. But the minute you owe me $1, I'm beating your door down, talking about, man, where my
Mm-hmm,
dollar at?
mm-hmm,
And so I
mm-hmm.
have to accept things just the way they are. Only thing I can change is my attitude and outlook upon life. So
Right.
it's gonna happen to the best of us and to the least of us. But
Yeah.
I
And
have to accept it. Go ahead.
yeah. And as it says, acceptance is the answer to all my problems today. If I am just, if I, it's me. When I am disturbed, it is because I find
Some person, place, thing,
a
totally
situation,
unacceptable.
something
Yes.
unacceptable to me.
Right.
What's that inward? And that too, I think, is a huge part of that self love and learning how to recognize those things in myself.
Mm,
What it is that I'm finding so adverse to what I think should be happening right now.
right.
And if it is so, can I do something about it? Okay, well then grant me the courage to do something about it. If I
Right.
can't, grant me the serenity to accept it.
Mm. That's a beautiful prayer, the serenity prayer as well. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
So, how has your perspective on living life on life terms evolved throughout your journey?
Yeah, and with that, yeah, that goes right back to it.
Acceptance.
I've
Yeah.
learned that for me, true happiness and peace comes from accepting it is what it is.
Hmm.
Either I can do something about it or I can't,
Right.
and I just ask my higher power to give me the wisdom to know whether I can or can't. Because a lot of,
Mm,
especially when I was still drinking, I thought I could do something about everything. I
absolutely.
and with me being, a stay-at-home mom, it's like, I'll get frustrated with my husband because he won't put something back exactly the way I had it.
Hmm.
And it's like, okay, before that's something that I would blow up about.
Right. Okay.
But today, even though I might get a little frustrated, I have the tools within me because of my program and the self-love and the love for him to where I can now look at it through a different lens. You know,
Mm.
think what is it? The book by Chuck C. Um,
Pair of new
yeah,
glasses.
yeah, pair of new glasses,
Or,
right?
yeah, a new pair of glasses.
New pair
Excuse
of
me.
glasses. There we go. There we go.
Oh,
But yeah, it's simply that, the room didn't change, the situation didn't change. I just put on a different pair of glasses so that I look at it a little differently.
absolutely. Wow, that's amazing. Can you share a specific moment or experience that tested your self love and sobriety and how you overcame it?
you know, we don't. I think I'm gonna share this. Yeah, it was an argument that I had with my husband. I think I might have been about 3 or 4 months sober at the time.
Mm,
And it was, a nothing disagreement. Some of the
yeah.
same stuff we had been disagreeing about, when I was still drinking. But my husband is a quote unquote normie. So he's still, and he's sober right now. He's been sober a little over 2 weeks.
Wow.
Um, but at the time, he was still drinking.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew where his stash was.
Uh-oh.
And in the moment,
No.
I'm
Anyway, go ahead.
telling you, right?
Uh-huh.
So in the moment, it was like, well, F it. He's pissed me off. What difference does it make, right?
Right, right.
But I did. I paused, I prayed,
Mm-hmm.
and then I proceeded. And I played the tape forward as we're taught to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I was able to see how the damage I was getting ready to inflict on me long term
Wow.
far outweighed any disagreement we were having in that present moment.
Right.
Like that moment was this too pass, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
that
Mm-hmm.
that argument, that disagreement was going to pass, which of course it did. But then I would have been out there drinking for God knows how long.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. We suffer from a threefold disease: spiritual, physical, and mental. And once we remove the physical, we still have to straighten out spiritually and physically or mentally.
Right,
And
right.
just put that alcohol back in my body just takes me. They say it's like a making love to a silverback gorilla. You don't stop until they get finished. That's true.
That's a good one.
It has happened in my life several times. Not making love to a silverback gorilla, but as far
I think
just
that.
starting over and over, drinking poison, expecting the other person to die is not.
Right, right.
And that's what we do most of the time. Some of us. So I
That
appreciate
reminds,
that.
that reminds me of another one. Setting your house on fire, trying to keep warm. Yeah,
I haven't heard that one, but
yeah.
yes, we will do it. Awesome. So, in what ways has your childhood trauma, if any, played a role in your recovery of self love and return in your self love journey? Now, by no means don't bring any open wounds or anything that you can or cannot share. It's okay with that.
Yeah, with this one, this one's kind of a new revelation that I've had the last couple of weeks actually. And I've been kind of sharing about it with my sponsor and in meetings. Um, I'm an only child. Parents were married for like 7 years before I was even thought about.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and they're old school. I pretty much had a really cookie cutter life. I grew up in the church. I was a cheerleader. I was a pageant girl. I was a straight A student, like all the things to where once I got to the point where I was ready to do something about my alcoholism, all I could say was, why me?
Right.
What happened in my life where I felt like I needed to drink and then for it to become a problem, you
Mm-hmm.
but upon a little digger deeping, digging deeper, yeah, that.
Yes, that.
um, I kind of realized that I feel like I was expected to be perfect.
Mm.
Um, there was a situation with my 4-year old. She's now in school. She's in pre-K. Right before we got out for Thanksgiving break, and she had a little project that we had to do. And the teacher posted it online. I sent it to my mom, and I was like, "Yeah, she did so good. She's top three."
Right.
So she immediately calls me and made mention about another little child's project, which had one of our political figures on it that she was not a fan of.
Mm-hmm.
Then proceeded to say, no, my baby was not in the top three. She was the best. She was the absolute best.
Right.
And, I had just had a moment earlier that day in a meeting where I was like, yeah, me feeling like I had to be perfect, realizing once I got to college that I was no longer that perfect child. I was just a small fish in a big pond.
Yes.
And I didn't know how to cope with that was when my real drinking took off.
Mm.
Used it as an escape,
Yes.
you know. And
Mm-hmm.
then a piece of me thought, well, no, maybe my perception of my childhood was wrong. But then once I had that conversation with my mom, I'm like, oh no, this was for real.
Yes.
And it was in that moment, like it was an emotional couple days for me. It really was.
Mm-hmm.
Because now it's like, okay, I have two girls and I refuse to have them feel like they need to be perfect or else they're nothing.
Right.
It says in our big book, we well, in our literature that we it's either all or nothing. There is no
Mm-hmm.
thing. And that's exactly what I felt, and
Wow.
when I wasn't all, I was absolutely nothing.
Nothing. Yeah.
So yeah, that I think it definitely it's coming to the light for me,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm learning how to, again, going back to the balance and realizing that perfect is non-existent on this side of the earth.
Wow.
As long as I do my best, That's okay. And
Absolutely.
days where I don't do my best,
Hmm.
that's okay too, as long as I don't wallow in that and I
Right.
don't dwell in that. Every day is not going to be a great day.
Hmm.
But hey, that's life. That's normal.
That is normal for most normal people.
Right.
For us, it could
Right.
be a molehill, a
Right.
mountain,
Mountain, right,
no
right.
doubt.
I don't have to make that mountain out of that molehill. It is simply a molehill.
Absolutely. That's
Yeah.
awesome. Oh, let's see. Of course, I had something to say behind that, but I can't can't even remember what it was right now. So it was. I was going to quote the book as far as that jumping off point, and saying that again. At least we get the comfort and ease. We either do or we don't. Something can cross us so bad that we'll be
Right.
like you said, the old F it, man. Let me just go
Hmm.
ahead and do something about this that's comfortable.
Right.
To get
Right.
that sense of ease again. How do you prioritize self care and self love in your daily life as someone in recovery?
Again, naps.
I done got to the age that power naps work for me as well.
Yes, they are so wonderful. And my girls are big enough to where, yeah, I can take naps with them now. I don't have to be doing something while they're sleeping. But yeah, honestly, my spiritual literature, my 12-step program literature, readings every day, um, prayer, time with my sponsor and my sponsees and key people. Honestly, and this might be TMI, but daily baths and brushing my teeth. I don't know about anybody else in recovery, but this alcoholic did not take care of herself when I was still out drinking every
Definitely.
single day. And to
Yeah.
be to make sure that I am physically taking care of my outer body.
Hmm.
That to me is, I mean, for a lot of people, it's the bare minimum. For me, this is like, girl, you did that, you know?
That's
And
awesome. Did I lose you?
no, 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 I'm
Oh,
here.
okay. I said that's awesome for sure. I've heard that several times, and of course, been there a long time. As a
Mhm.
guy, you can come in and go. Anyway, like you say, it might be too much TMI, but you're absolutely right. That's self care and self love comes in all forms,
Yes.
and that is one of them. Regularly grooming and taking care of yourself. For the longest, I wouldn't look in the mirror because
Mhm.
I just was shameful. I too grew up with a two-parent home, family. For the most part, it was normal. But we had to be perfect. We had to be right. We had to work hard. And if it was wrong, my dad would definitely chastise us and
Right.
correct it and do whatever. And today I don't have to live like that. I'm human. I'm what they say. I'm a human being having a. I'm a being having a human experience. That's what
Mhm.
it is.
Mhm.
So another thing that helped me with that same thing along the same lines was prayer, meditation, and journaling.
Yes.
Working the fourth step and writing all of that stuff out and then sharing it. But as I continued on, I knew I still had some other issues, and someone mentioned about another AA program, and as you mentioned early coming in that program, I start praying and meditating. I start meditating and journaling. So my routine, for those that might not know, is I wake up around 4:45 in the morning. Pray, do a head blessing, meditate for I'm up to about 25 minutes now, 20 to 25 minutes.
Mhm.
It starts off with a guided meditation, and then I have a good 15 minutes in between, and that, and then read something positive as you referenced, and then journal for about 20, 30 minutes before I jump on that first meeting has been tremendous for me. It has pointed out so many things in my life that I was either covering up or coming back to memories now that I'm not dead in all of the brain cells. So,
Absolutely.
yeah,
Absolutely.
journaling definitely helps. So,
Mhm.
if you haven't tried it, try it.
I definitely have, and you mentioned journaling, and now it's like, okay, well, my gratitude list is about as much as I write right now.
Uh,
But and it's something that when I tell you I used to write every day, I wrote poetry,
Mm.
write my thoughts. I'm actually published online somewhere. I can't tell you where because I don't remember. Um, but that was my outlet for
Yeah.
many years before I started drinking, or before I started drinking, as heavily as I did,
Hmm.
was writing it all down.
Wow.
So yeah, I believe in the power of the pen for sure.
Well, hopefully you might possibly pick it back up one of these
You
days.
know, that would be a blessing, wouldn't it?
Absolutely. Since you said that, I am an author now. I've authored my first book in
Oh,
recovery,
no.
and it's 4 powerful strategies to heal from trauma. It's on Amazon and Kindle, if I'm not mistaken. But it really was a eye-opening experience, and it was my experience with what started me down this road. Through prayer and meditation and journaling. I just captured the tools that I use on a regular basis, and I
Right.
say I just we I'll knock my brilliance down, as I always say, because I come in here with 3 college degrees and 2 ex-marriages. I thought I knew a lot of things, but I could not beat alcohol. I couldn't outsmart it. I wasn't strong enough. And I often tell people, it doesn't take strength. It doesn't, for me, it didn't take me to be strong because I figured I was strong. I'm a master electrician. I fix things
Mm,
and I have so much education and stuff, but I could not outthink alcohol. I could not
right.
outthink the desire to drink when I didn't want to.
Right.
I had to drink even when I didn't want to. And deacon in
Yeah.
church, had the religious upbringing. And so when y'all say God in here, I went straight back to my religious beliefs and my religious training. And fortunately, the 12 step says having had a spiritual awakening as the result of these steps.
Yes.
And so I have that connection now, which is different from religious. And I was able to sit down across from my mom and tell her that about maybe 6 months ago.
Wonderful.
And
That's
she
amazing.
she definitely looked at me and said, well, everybody's path is different, and I'm glad you still believe this. My mom is amazing. I tell you, 84 years old and still active and in my life. So and
Beautiful.
I get to be part of her life now. So that's amazing.
Right.
How has the concept of forgiveness, both of oneself and others, been instrumental in your journey of self love and recovery?
Absolutely paramount. I mean, I don't see how, at least for me, there's no way I could love myself if I didn't first forgive myself.
Absolutely.
Um, and it's for me, it's a daily decision for me to love myself. You know, this is a journey that I'm on. This is a lifelong journey that I'm on to be the best version that my higher power wants me to be. And yeah, I'm gonna be honest, I don't love myself every day,
Absolutely.
but I like myself enough every day to keep doing what I need to do to maintain my sobriety. And that gets me back to praying and asking my higher power to give me that forgiveness of self
Yes.
on the harder days. So yeah. And then of course, forgiving others, like that's where, kind of as I mentioned earlier, that's where that peace, that serenity comes from. I have to let go of those resentments. Those resentments, as our book says, is the killer. That is
Number one
the
killer.
number one killer. And
Yes.
for me, a lot of my resentments, because of my upbringing and how I drank detrimentally, a lot of my resentments were to myself. There weren't really any people that I resented. Like when I did my fourth step with my sponsor, like my whole first page were things that I resented about myself. Like,
Wow. Yeah.
why do I have to be this perfect child, this perfect wife, this perfect mother? You
Mm-hmm.
know, and really feeling strongly about those things. And why do I have this need to control everything and to manage everything and fix
Mm.
everything? And that's not my job, you know? It is up to my higher power if I ask him sincerely
Mm-hmm.
to help me do these things. And then I just go and do the next right thing and allow him to be in charge of whatever the outcome is
Right.
and let it go. I have to
Mm-hmm.
let it go. And
Yes. I tease my fiance all the time. She talks about me and says, I don't think she says it, but I assume she says this because I don't allow anything to bother me. I mean, I'd be like, oh, okay,
right.
next, and so I'm nonchalant about a lot of things around, and not that I'm nonchalant, but I just don't allow it to bother me. I look at it. If it can be handled, I handle it. If it can't, I move it off to the side until it can be handled or until, like you say, the higher power takes care of it or whatever happens. I'm not going to sweat about it right now. I do what's in front of me and
Right.
proceed. So that's awesome. What does the phrase "you love you" mean to you in the context of your sobriety and self love?
You know, for me, we grew up with treat others the way you want to be treated.
Yes.
Right. That's the golden rule.
Mm-hmm.
I learned some time ago the platinum rule. Treat others,
Oh.
treat others and myself the way my higher power treats me.
Hmm.
So I strive to love myself the way my higher power loves me, unconditionally,
Unconditional.
flaws and all, through good, bad, ugly, indifference. And, for me, that means taking into account my health mentally, physically,
Mm.
spiritually, so that I am the best version of myself that my higher power would have me be.
Right.
But that phrase, you love you, that's what it means to me. I mean, it's all about the guideline that I have for how I love myself is given to me by my higher power. I can't
Mm.
take it from any mere mortal, you
Right.
know, on this earth. So where would I get my guide from? I have to get it from my higher power.
Mm.
Those
Yeah.
instructions have to come from him because
Absolutely.
if they were within myself, if I had the self knowledge to do it myself,
Yeah.
I wouldn't be in this room. I wouldn't be in my office, you know.
Absolutely.
So yeah.
Yeah. That's for sure. Yes. So this whole thing came from journaling. As I was journaling one day, the words I wrote out, I was writing something, I don't know what it was, but the word you showed up on my paper with a Y with a big old heart. The O looked like a heart, and then the you.
Mm,
And I coined the phrase "you love you," and someone, of course, had "you love you" as .com, so I had to put the LLC on it. But and then I was interviewing a guy probably about 5 or 6 episodes ago, and he switched it over on me and says, "Well, you tell me what the self love means to you."
mm,
I was like, "That's pretty interesting. Never thought of it." Although these questions were developed through, me and my journey through self love.
mm-hmm,
But a real quick answer for that at the time, after I pondered for a minute and thought about it, I told him self love for me today is showing up, doing
mm,
the things I need to do today to be the man that my higher power wanted me to be.
yep.
And I do those on a regular basis. So that's
That's
awesome.
wonderful. That's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. So self love and recovery. You've been listening to Self Love and Recovery, everything Self Love and Recovery. We had Astrid T from Bluffton, Georgia, which she calls nowhere, Georgia. I have no idea where it is. How far is it from Atlanta?
About 2.5, going on, yeah, about 2.5 hours.
Yep,
So,
nowhere, Georgia. I'm with you. So thank you so much. Would you have any last words or any encouragement for those that might be listening?
you know, um, again, I thank you so much for asking me to be a part of this. This is absolutely amazing. Anyone that is listening, that's watching or struggling to maintain their sobriety, give yourself
Mm,
grace. This is a marathon. This is not a sprint. The peace, the joy, the serenity is in the journey. The growth is uncomfortable, but it is so worth it.
mm.
As I said, every day is not going to be a great day, but each day it can have great moments if we choose.
Absolutely. I can drop the mic on that. I will add the ninth step says if we are painstaking about this phase of our development, we'll be amazed before we're halfway through. We
Yeah,
will know a new freedom and a new happiness. We will not regret the past, nor wish to shut the door on it. So that has been my experience. And I'm so grateful for you to come in and hang out with me for a little while and just to share that experience, strength, and hope with us. And again, Bill Wilson says, least I enlarged my spiritual life through work and self-sacrifice for others. I thought I had to do all these religious things that I was brought up to believe, but if I just get out of the way and try to help somebody,
right.
my life can be better. So thank you once again. Everything self-love and recovery, and we'll stay tuned. Come
Thank
back and see us. Thank you so much. So you have been listening to the podcast, Everything Self-Love and Recovery, where we discuss self-love and how our journey through recovery has enhanced, produced, or made it better some kind of way. Also, I mentioned through the program that there is a book. I'm the author of The Four Powerful Strategies to Heal from Trauma, which can be found on Amazon. And also, my website is youloveyoullc.com. That's youloveyoullc.com. The book can be picked up at members.youloveyoullc.com or Amazon. Again, the title is Four Powerful Strategies to Heal from Trauma. If you'd like to be a guest on the show, by all means, check out speaker.youloveyoullc.com. That's speaker.youloveyoullc.com. It'll give you a brief little 5-minute explanation of how the podcast is ran. And I would love to have you if you have worked your 12 steps and have something to share as far as self-love and recovery. If you haven't worked 12 steps and have something to share about the 12 steps or self-love and recovery, by all means, drop me a line. I'm at window@youloveyoullc.com. Again, window@youloveyoullc.com. The book can be found on Amazon, Four Powerful Strategies to Heal from Trauma, or you can get it off of my website at youloveyoullc.com. So thank y'all so much for hanging out with us, and we look forward to hearing from you. Comment, like, subscribe, share with someone that you know that might be suffering. Either way, we'll continue to come back. Thank you.